Got you.
Alrighty. Good evening, Cochrane. I'm happy to call to order the regular council meeting of January 26th, 2026. Let's start with an adoption of the agenda. Can I get a motion from council?
The minute agenda for
Okay, Councillor Singh, all in favor? Carried. And Councillor Singh, can you keep going with adoption of the previous minutes?
make a motion to adopt the minutes, previous minutes, yeah.
Okay, all in favor? There's no delegations this evening. We'll just dive straight into business, beginning with Bylaw 02, 2026, Cochrane Municipal Policing Committee Bylaw Amendment, first reading. Mr. Juden.
Good evening, Mayor and councillors. I'm before you tonight to present a proposed amendment to the Cochrane Municipal Policing Committee bylaw through first reading of Bylaw 02, 2026. As required by Bill 6, the Police Amendment Act, Council adopted the Cochrane Municipal Policing Committee bylaw 03, 2025 on February 10th, 2025. This allowed for the establishment of a standing committee whose primary purpose is to enhance police accountability and strengthen public trust by providing civilian oversight of local policing services. Shortly thereafter, on April 9th, 2025, Bill 49, the Public Safety and Emergency Services Statutes Amendment Act of 2025, received royal assent. This statute amendment eliminated the requirement for the committee to hold a position for a public complaint director. Additionally, on June 11th, 2025, the Access to Information Act, also known as ATIA, and the Protection of Privacy Act, also known as PAPA, replaced Alberta's Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act, also known as FOIP. These acts separate access rights from privacy obligations, with the new laws providing clear rules for accessing public records and handling personal information for public bodies in Alberta. Hence, I am here tonight to propose a straightforward amendment to our bylaw to comply with the current legislation. Essentially, some housekeeping. I'll first speak to the amendment related to the public complaint director position. The amendment includes the removal of section 3.1 sub H, which refers to the appointment of a public complaints director. As well, the amendment includes the removal of section the entire section of 5.0 as it relates to the description and duties of a public complaints director, and section 8.1, which speaks to the election of a public complaints director by the committee. So those are all struck. I'll next speak to the requirement to update the bylaw to reflect the replacement of FOIP with the Access to Information Act and Protection of Privacy Act. The amendment includes rewording of section 4.4 and 8.1 sub J to reflect these changes. And although relatively minor in nature, these amendments ensure that our policing committee bylaw is aligned and in compliance with the most recent legislative changes. Administration respectfully requests that council accepts the proposed amendments and give first reading to bylaw 02, 2026, the Cochrane Municipal Policing Committee bylaw amendment.
All right, council, any questions? Can we get a motion on the floor? Councillor Wilson?
No questions or comments, just a motion to move the council give first reading to bylaw 02, 2026.
All right, we'll be revisiting this at additional reading phases of the process. Any comments for clarification or questions for clarification, rather? Seeing none, call the question. All in favor? Carried.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next up, 2025 Community Operational Grants. Ms. Ambrose.
All right, good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight I'm bringing forward administration's recommendations for the 2025 Community Operational Grants and seeks Council's approval for the funding recommendations as presented. These recommendations align with the Cochrane Community Grant Program policy and are based on the policy-approved evaluation framework. The Community Operational Grants support organizations delivering ongoing services and programs that contribute to community well-being and quality of life in Cochrane and surrounding area. The recommendations reflect the remaining $85,000 in the 2025 community grant budget, as these applications represent multi-year operational needs. Organizations that were partially funded will have the opportunity to reapply through the 2026 intake for a top-up on their original request. So the community operational grants are divided into two streams. Essential services grants support organizations delivering services the town would otherwise be responsible for providing, such as emergency response or critical social supports. Community enhancer grants support organizations that enhance quality of life through arts, culture, inclusion, and community connection. For 2025, administration received applications across both grant streams, and the funding matrix, the scoring matrix within the policy is focused on community need, alignment with town priorities, organizational capacity, and measurable outcomes. This slide summarizes the operational grant funding amounts being presented to Council this evening. The recommended amounts reflect the evaluation and the remaining funds available in 2025. Not all requests are fully funded at this time due to budget limitations. Council has copies of the full grant applications and the Coles notes for reference, should you wish to review for additional detail. Administration recommends that Council approve the operational grant stream funding recommendations as presented this evening. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Councilor McDonald.
First of all, I'm really glad that the town of Cochrane's doing this. I think grant opportunities with the town used to be limited to events that a group was holding. So I think recognizing the offloading that these groups do is really a great step forward. Can you just remind me what the timeline is of typical annual applications for this? Because it's pretty new, isn't it? Okay.
Yeah, so through the chair to Councillor McDonald, I can explain this process. This one is a one-off. And the reason for that was in June 2025, Council had approved the Cochrane Community Grants policy. So that outlined multiple different granting streams, including the operational grants. That policy is attached to the Council report as well. So for that, for 2025, we actually had additional funding that was available through the operational stream. So that's why we did this kind of interim grant. All of these grant recipients through essential services would on an annual basis continue to receive funding for the community enhancer stream. It's a 3-year grant that would help them kind of get set up, and the intention behind it is to create sustainability for those groups.
Okay. And when, in 2026, when will the applications take place?
Yeah, we're actually just getting ready to launch and reopen all of our forms for all of the grants.
And the groups that were presented tonight with these recommended amounts, they're all eligible to apply again?
It is a nuance inside of the policy, but they would be all eligible to reapply, recognizing that they're not receiving their full funding requests.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Sorry, before you give it up, would you be able to make a motion for us?
I changed windows. I move the recommended action. How about that?
Perfect. Any conversation, questions, debate? Seeing none, thank you very much. I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried unanimously. We are cruising right along. Mr. Knox, council appointment to the Intercity Forum on Social Policy.
Yes.
Please take it away.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm very excited to share this report that Council, requesting that Council appoint one member of Council to represent Cochrane on the Intercity Forum on Social Policy. It's a low-cost, low-time commitment appointment that gives Cochrane a seat at a long-standing Alberta municipal table focused on social policy and community well-being. The recommended action is for a term starting February 2026 and ending at the organizational meeting October 2026. Really, it's all contingent on the forum amending its terms of reference to have us join at its February 12th meeting. So what the forum is. Forum's a collaborative network of Albertan urban municipalities designed to support information sharing, coordination, and collective advocacy on social policy issues that cross municipal boundaries. Really, it's providing a structured venue for elected officials and senior administration to engage with peers and sector partners on emerging, complex social issues. Through our work and expanding our networks in the social development portfolio, Cochrane has been invited to participate. Time commitment is modest. It's approximately 13 hours a year for the elected official, one longer in-person meeting, and virtual meetings throughout the year. Administration would support the council representative. Social development would help with preparing and attending, with intergovernmental relations support as needed. Financially, it's $500 annually, which we can fund inside of the existing social development operating budget. So really, the practical benefit to our community, council gains early intelligent, peer-tested approaches, and a stronger collective municipal voice on social issues that we're already dealing with locally, whether it's our housing pressures, our service demand, or a focus on our community well-being. Of note, and I think this is particularly important to council, participation does not commit council to any advocacy positions that we may not agree with. Participation really is about improving information flow and coordination. Any formal advocacy or government relation issues that we would decide to move on would be brought back through our normal channels with IGR support. As I mentioned, the appointment is contingent because the forum's terms of reference and membership would need to be updated at the February 12th meeting. If council approves today, we can coordinate with the onboarding and ensure that whoever's appointed receives the meeting materials and minutes. So fairly straightforward. Administration is recommending option one, that council appoint one member to represent Cochrane for the stated term, contingent on those terms of reference amendment. Is there any questions?
Councilor McDonald.
I'm curious why now? We weren't eligible in 98.
Yes. So in 98, when they started, you had to be over 10,000, and we weren't yet. So we did gain our eligibility through growth, but we, from my understanding, we haven't necessarily been in those networks or been asking to be invited. So it was through our research and chatting with more people. They were like, "Oh, you guys should be at this table. Why aren't you here?" So we ended up asking the group if they would extend an invite to us.
Okay. Yeah, when I was reading the prep materials, I just wondered, because we've been over 10,000 for quite a long time now.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, that was my only question. I can't think of a reason I would not put this motion forward. So I'm happy to put it on the table. That council appoint one member of council to the Intercity Forum on Social Policy.
Do we need two motions, one to actually appoint somebody and then second for who the other individual would be? Or can it all be one
would
motion?
assume so.
I think we could do it in one motion, Mayor Nagel, but certainly if council wishes to do it in two, it's
Okay.
really at your discretion, to be honest.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to appoint a counselor. Need further discussion on which counselor? Counselor Singh?
I'm happy to join if somebody, like, voting and stuff, that falls under my portfolio, and next year somebody else can join in, but I'm happy to. I have a couple of questions if that's okay, like, or we deal with this motion first and then.
No, ask questions to the motion, of
Yeah.
course.
So I'm gonna tag on to Councillor McDonald's question. Was it presented after 1998 ever? Was it presented before
Was it presented to us?
to the council?
Through the mayor to Councillor Singh. To be honest, I'm not certain if it was something that was brought to council previously. From the brief conversations I've had with other municipal representatives, it didn't sound like it was something that we had pursued previously. But I could be wrong. That's what, 35 years?
And from resources perspective, does the administration feel the town has capacity to take on the additional role alongside existing priorities without creating strain or risking burnout of the staff or the council?
So through the mayor to Councillor Singh again, yes, I actually think this is truly a value add for us in terms of our network and our role. Most likely the administrator who would be joining council would be myself. And it's various, I would say, directors or senior administrators that are at my level. So it's also for me a really great, I would say, value add to learn what other municipalities are doing and how do we bring the best of that back to Cochrane. Sure. And it's an opportunity too for us to share what we're doing and for other municipalities to learn from us.
Yeah. And to follow up that, and as we continue to work on the initiative like housing need assessment and other social planning efforts, how does the administration see this forum complementing the work? And for the clarity, does council retain the ability to step away from the forum in the future if participation is no longer serving the town priorities?
Yes. So two things there. One, the value add. I definitely think that the things that we're seeing are common issues across various municipalities. In the short time that I've been here, as I've started to expand my network, chatting with other municipalities, they are dealing with similar things. And that's what we see across affordable housing and our various social issues. So I definitely think massive value add for us there. Potentially, again, it depends on what's out there. And as I mentioned early, there's nothing tying us to any formal policy or any sort of advocacy. It's purely more information, peer network sharing. If for whatever reason we didn't find this valuable, we could step away. And there are, I think, two councils that have actually stepped away that were on the bottom of the list that weren't attending at this time.
Yeah. Thank you.
Councillor Wilson.
Thank you. I had a similar question about when I originally read this, it looked to me like there was a committee sunset clause, but I'm not reading that correctly. Just something about that we have to re-examine it on October 26, 2026. Is that because of us organizationally, or is that the committee itself? Or
It would be the committee itself.
Okay.
Sorry, through mayor to Councillor Wilson.
Meaning there's a chance it would sunset itself in October of 26, or they're just
I think
redoing the terms of reference? Or?
from my understanding, it's more likely that we would reaffirm who the next representative from our community is, or not, if we chose not to.
Okay. This seems like it could have some utility to it. My only word of caution is I do feel our committee load as an aggregate for council is ever expanding, and at some point we reach a threshold where are we receiving the value we should be receiving from this plethora of committees that we're assigned to. This isn't one that I'm especially interested in, but if we have someone around the table that is, I would be all for supporting it. But I guess I'd like to hear, even though we're missing two councillors tonight, if there is somebody, it sounds like Councillor Singh is interested in attending at least until this October terms of reference date. I would support if you have the capacity to take that on, Paul.
Can you clarify whether, so it's sounding like this is an annual thing, so is this the sort of thing where we're just hoping to stay part of it for, if it's working out, it'll be an annual recurring thing for the ongoing future?
So through the mayor to Councillor Gale, yes. So it is a reoccurring group year over year, and if we were to see the value of it, I would like to, obviously it sounds like it's something that council would be interested in piloting and then saying, was this valuable or not, and reevaluating that. We'd be able to do that each year, and But I would, from my understanding and from chatting with other administrations who have been attending, they've seen an immense value of it. So I would like to see, proposing that, but it would be ultimately be up to council.
Okay, if for whatever reason it doesn't work out with Councillor Singh's schedule, I could potentially be happy to join as well, so. That's all for me.
Okay.
Sorry,
Mr. Blanchett.
Mr. Mayor, to the council, I just wanted to add to Mr. Knox's comments. I think this is a unique opportunity for council and a senior member of our administration to be at the table when we're talking about complex social issues. And I think we'll see pretty clearly and abundantly whether or not there's value in that engagement as well. I just think it would be a missed opportunity really for us not to be in that space, having those conversations. And again, I'm sure Mr. Knox, through his experience, would give a guidance as to whether there was continuing value there. But given the challenges that we see these days, it would be a clear opportunity for council to see that directly and our admin to see that directly, and then talk about strategies that we could bring back to the municipality.
Okay, before I go around to any councillors, I might weigh in a little bit just to suggest that if we do have committees with this one or any other where multiple members of council want to take it on, I don't know if we should just lean on whoever puts their hand up first gets it. I think maybe it should be a bit of consideration as to who has less committees could maybe be the default choice, or if an individual wants to withdraw their interest because it's contested. But we just need to find a way how we're going to navigate committees when multiple councillors want the same committee appointments. We need to figure out how we're going to discuss that. So I will pass it back to Councillor Singh.
Just on to Councillor Gill's comment, would you be able to look into that if there's some alternative options available? Like, so that, like as Councillor Gill mentioned, if somebody's schedule get busy, at least some other councillor could be able to tag along into that, so.
Through the chair to Councillor Singh, yes, we can ask if it needs to be like a named, or if it can be a town representative with an alternative or something like that. My understanding was formally it was that we would appoint someone. I wasn't sure if it needed to be named specifically. But we can look into it.
Okay. Councillor McDonald?
I just wanted to say I'm also really interested in it, but I'm happy to jump in next year or whenever works for the team. But if the discussion in terms of us becoming a member of this is up to team capacity and interest, I'm definitely both able and interested.
Councillor Gill?
I think when I capacity-wise, I could definitely take it on, but just looking at everyone else's committees that they're already on, it would probably make more sense for either Councillor McDonald or Councillor Singh to take it, just going off of the committees that you have. But capacity-wise, if it's too much, I can definitely take it on. So maybe you two want to decide, but I'm also happy. Just whoever really wants it, I think, should take it, and we can decide next year too.
Everybody wanting to participate is a good sign of passion and energy. It could be the other way around. So what do we want to do here? Who wants to do it? Who has less committees, or who has less monthly meetings, I would ask, as opposed to just committees? How many regular, do you know off the top of your head how many regular monthly meetings you each have? Councillor Singh?
Sorry, I believe I have every other month, so. Like
Is
the
that-
board meetings every other month, so.
So you have one committee meeting every other month?
I believe so, yeah. But you're on multiple. Yes, I'm on Rocking Foundation. So if we have a meeting this month, so it'll be in March. And Seniors Advisory every other month, and same, I believe, with the, just the FCSS is every month, yes.
So you have two every other month and one every month, so that works out to 2 per month effectively? Or Councillor McDonald, how many are you at?
I'm 2 monthly and 1 quarterly. It's almost a wash, probably. I think Councillor Singh should jump on this. I fully support you doing that, and perhaps I'll be next in line for when we reevaluate committees. How about that?
Yeah, we can start and then. If they figured out that alternative can join, so please join meeting in there. That'd be awesome, yeah.
Okay, excellent. So we'll start with, so we need, the motion on the floor was to appoint a counselor. Can somebody amend it to make that counselor, Singh?
I'll amend my motion that we appoint Counselor Singh to the Intercity Social,
Intercity Forum on Social Policy.
Intercity Forum on Social Policy. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. Excellent.
Thank you.
Efficient. So that is the end of our brief, our light agenda. Do we have any notices of motion? No? No notice of motion. So that does bring me into my mayor's report. Despite the fact that we had a light council meeting this evening, I would say that we have been busier than ever, and there's more going on here than ever before. So my mayor's report, over the past few weeks, we've really been diving headfirst into my favorite part of this job, and that is the big picture, long-term planning of our town, Cochrane. Since my last report, in addition to all my normal weekly routine, we have had several long and in-depth meetings relating to our wastewater projects, the Cochrane Library, the Lions-led Community Center, seniors issues, provincial advocacy, Cochrane's faith groups, and our residential growth. On the wastewater projects, we will need to have a future deep dive session with council to discuss all the complex intricacies of our water infrastructure needs and wastewater infrastructure. Regarding the library, the primary outstanding question remains the preferred location for a potential new building, as was recently discussed in our committee of the whole meeting. On the event center, we're continuing to move the needle forward with the Lions and their community partners. I anticipate we'll be organizing an official public kickoff event soon for the next steps of their planning and community engagement. With regards to seniors issues, I met directly with the general membership of Seniors on the Bow, where I gave an hour-long presentation on everything we are working on here at the town, and I fielded dozens of questions from the crowd as I presented. They are obviously very much looking forward to some positive news about seniors housing in Cochrane, but the topic they were really excited to talk about was their desire for a new senior center. They were clear with me that they are looking to ask council to provide them with a central facility that they have unfettered access to 7 days a week, and that it needs to be widely accessible with parking and ideally only a single story for accessibility reasons. I promised them that we would take it under advisement and find an opportunity for them to engage directly with council in the months ahead. When it comes to provincial advocacy, I have been working with our staff to strategize how we can best position council to work with the provincial government to pursue major infrastructure projects, including but not limited to our highways. I mentioned that I also met with Cochrane's faith groups. Last week I had a great meeting with a large number of Cochrane's local religious leaders, and following our conversation, they wanted to pass along their warm wishes to our entire organization, including all of administration and council. I also have a few follow-up meetings on issues they are seeking assistance with. On the topic of Cochrane's growth, I've been proactively meeting with several of Cochrane's major land developers to discuss how they can help us build beautiful communities at a pace of growth that makes sense for Cochrane. I have been clear with them at every step that my hope is for our council to create and pass policies to ensure Cochrane grows at a sustainable rate, and then we will continue to plan out desirable communities with that framework in place. I'm looking forward to discussing all of that with all of council in the weeks and months to come. Through all of this, everything I've outlined here, I would like to thank all of council for continuing to take an active interest in and engage on these many important topics. I know we are going to produce the best results when we are all working together, which is why I'm especially thankful that this past weekend we had the first of several upcoming strategic planning sessions where we laid the groundwork for how we are going to work together with administration to deliver results on Cochrane's most pressing issues and priorities. In the months ahead, we're going to be working with the community to take Cochrane's long-term strategic planning to a new level of both detail and ambition. And along the way, the public can expect a number of updates and touch points where we will be doing community engagement that informs and guides the roadmap that we are charting. Until then, that is the end of this month's Mayor's Report, or this meeting's Mayor's Report rather. Stay tuned, Cochrane. Can I get a motion to accept the Mayor's Report? Councillor McDonald.
I so move.
Any conversation, questions for clarification on anything? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. Do we have any council reports this evening? Councillor Singh.
So I have attended my first Seniors Advisory Committee meeting. The Committee brings together organizations and individuals dedicated to enhancing the quality of life for older adults in Cochrane and area through collaboration, advocacy, and supportive services. At the January Senior Advisory Committee meeting, the guests from CARIA in Calgary shared information on programs supporting individuals with challenges related to excessive acquiring and difficult discarding belongings. Cochrane service providers are exploring partnerships to strengthen local education, support services, counseling, screening tools, and financial assistance options. The subcommittee's updates were also shared on the age-friendly initiative, support for caregivers and those living with dementia, World Elder Abuse Awareness Day, and the Men's Wellbeing Program through Men's Shed. Some of the events we attended was a new business in town, like congratulations to Raj for the grand opening of a new business in town, Massage Addict, located at the Bow Street Common. Deputy Mayor Federico and I had the honor of participating in the ribbon cutting ceremony for their grand opening. Another local business, the Social Spot Marketplace, is celebrating their 4th year on February 1st, 2026. Please stop by from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. to connect with their incredible vendors, enjoy some in-store promotion, and enter chance to win some great prizes. Congratulations, Kaylee, and to the entire team. And finally, if you are new to curling like me, January 31st is the National Curling Day. Volunteers from Cochrane Curling Club will be at Midford Pond from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. to help people try the sport. No special footwear or equipment needed, all age welcomes. Thank you.
Excellent. Any other council reports? Councilor McDonald?
Thank you. I attended my first meeting with the Natural Environment Protection Task Force on January 13th. This group has identified 6 areas in Cochrane's natural environment that will benefit from environmental assessment. The assessment will provide recommendations on conservation needs, protection mechanisms, and future policy. The assessment, along with education opportunities for schools and the public, are 2 key areas that will advance this group through the work identified in their terms of reference. Council has seen the proposed work plan and funding request, with a decision expected at the February 9th meeting. For the board's reference, I wanted to review the NEP's deliverables that were supported by council when the task force was created, provide recommendations and guidance on developing environmental education and stewardship programs, complete an environmental assessment study of Cochrane's natural areas, provide advice on funding opportunities or partnerships to protect and conserve ecosystems, and complete an annual report to council. So I just thought I'd take this opportunity to review those deliverables for council and just remind us all that council created this task force and assigned those deliverables for the environmental assessment study. I attended the Rocky View Regional Handybus Society board meeting on January 15th. This service saw growth from 2024 to 2025 across trips, passengers, service hours, and service kilometers. So 2025 trips grew by 2.8%, but Cochrane's trips grew by 5%. Passengers carried grew by 5.9%, but Cochrane's passengers grew by 8%. Service hours grew by 12%, whereas in Cochrane they grew by 13%, and service kilometers grew by 8%, but in Cochrane, service kilometers grew by 14%. And other than that, I've got the Housing Society board meeting coming up this week, and looking forward to updating you on that one. Thank you.
Councilor McDonald, I do have a question about your council report. Regarding the Natural Environment Protection Task Force, is there any opportunity in the processes you're going through to try and get that group to provide some official guidance on some of our relevant policies, such as our wetland policies, any environmental corridors or anything like that that's being put forwards or in development?
Yeah, we've had one meeting so far, but I think the group would be very open to talking about that, and I'm happy to bring that forward.
Okay, great. I know that's something that Councillor Gale talked about as well.
I think it's a really great idea, and I can only surmise at this point that they're really passionate and that they would love to take a look at that.
Okay, excellent. Councillor Wilson?
Thank you. Just a very short report. January 21st, I had my first Cochrane Tourism Association committee meeting. It's my first time on that committee, so limited knowledge and scope of what goes on there. My main takeaway from it was just a promise to the board that I do with all my committees, that I'll make sure to both be their conduit and microphone here at council, just to let us know what's going on there, and more to follow. Really active board and a ton of experience. I was quite impressed with them. The only other thing that I attended was what we all did, which was our strategic planning over the weekend. It was good to get it going. I'm excited to get a document to the public to actually show what council's priorities are and how we plan to achieve them, the what, when, and how, which will eventually come, but it was just good to get it started, and look forward to getting back to it and producing something upcoming.
Excellent. Any questions, comments, anything else? Seeing none, can I get a motion to accept council reports? Councillor Gale?
I move to accept council reports from everyone.
Okay, all in favor? Carried unanimously. And that is our first brief meeting in conclusion. There's no closed session this evening, so everybody enjoy the rest of your Monday. See you here next week.